When we think of purpose-driven companies, who do you think of? I think of Patagonia, for example. So over the last 7 years, brands with a purpose outperform those that don't have one, become one of the most widely promoted ideas in the advertising. When I talk about brands with a purpose, I mean brands which have a purpose beyond profit. The evidence supporting brand purpose comes from the book Grow, written by Jim Stengel. He was an ex-chief marketing officer of P&G. So he came up with this finding after selecting 50 brands with the highest loyalty from the Millward Brow's 50,000 strong database. This Millward Brow is a research marketing agency. Once he selected the 50 brands, he searches for a link between them, and he found one. Next, he looked at those chosen brands' stock value growth between 2000 and 2011, and he saw that his 50 brands grew with 393% instead of the 7% loss for the S&P 500 benchmark. Stengel's conclusion was, brand purpose is driving business success. The book and results had a tremendous impact. Top gurus and CEOs of marketing agencies jumped on it, declared that they are utterly convinced. It won't be me if I don't dive deeper to see if the theory is correct. The purpose of my speech tonight is to answer the following 3 questions related to the theory and come up with a conclusion. We're going to check if the data is correct. Does the theory predict past and future? And does a purpose link the brands? Let's start with number 1. Is the data correct? Stengel's central piece of data is that his 50 stocks rose by 393%. But that was not quite the case. Some of the companies on the list, like Emirates, are privately held, which means they don't have a share price. Other companies like Innocent or Pampers are parts of much larger publicly traded companies. For example, on the list he added Pampers, who is part of P&G, or Innocent, who is part of Coca-Cola. In the case of Stonyfields Farm, which is part of Danone's, he used the 2014 revenue of Danone, but Stonyfields Farm was only 2% of the total revenue of Danone. The gravest flaw in Stengel's list was he selected only the best performers. That's only the 0.1% of the full database. Now what about number 2? Does the theory predict the future and the past? Richard Shotton, a consultant, an author and a conference speaker, did a check. He took 26 brands from the list with an actual share price, analyzed during 5 years the evolution after the book became a success. The result? A mere 9 of the 26 companies studied outperformed the S&P 500 benchmark. Statistically, you should expect 13 out of the 26. Number 3. For the theory to be valid, the brands in question must be linked by a purpose. Even that doesn't seem to be true. When you look at Stengel's definition, he stretched it so far it became meaningless. Let me give you some examples. Try to tell me which brand I'm talking about while I'm giving you the brand purpose. All 3 are famous brands. Exist to transform occasions into celebrations. Moet Chandon. Exist to epitomize a life of achievement. Mercedes-Benz. Exist to connect people anytime, anywhere. Not Nokia, but BlackBerry. Do you notice the problem? The brand purpose are just category descriptors. They can apply to any company in that category. Can we say that brands with a purpose outperform those that don't have one? To prove the theory is correct or false, you need to compare successful brands with unsuccessful ones. You can't conclude by just looking to an isolated group alone. A research was conducted during 5 years by examining the worst stock performers. For example, Nokia. Nokia shares plumped 95%. If the ideals were a genuine fit to drive success, you'd expect consumers to recognize these brands. The result was that ideals apply as much to underperforming brands as successful ones. But Frederick, what are you saying? What does this mean? Do we need to throw away the baby with the bathwater? Giving up our ideals we believe in? Of course not. My company have brand ideas as well. We support LGBT, Black Lives Matter, equal pay for equal work. But those ideals make our team great, and hopefully the team makes the company great. So what I propose to do, before you jump on the next marketing trend, do your research. Don't waste time and money on theories that have no valid base. Because when you do so, like hoping brand purpose will give you profit, you hollow out the real reasons why we have to fight for them by using the wrong goals. And I hope you keep fighting for them with or without revenue.